it's Olivia. Welcome back to my channel. So today you guys have asked me a ton of great Disney College Program related questions and I am going to give you the answers. But before I start, I want to remind you that my brand new ebook, So You Want to Start a YouTube Channel, a quick start guide to growing your brand on YouTube, is now available on Amazon. This book is 40 pages jam-packed of information of the basics that you need to know when you're starting out on YouTube so that you can make high quality content without purchasing any extra equipment and you can make videos that actually get views. The link to the book will be in the description box below, and if you've read it, please leave an Amazon review. Alright, question number 1. What happens if a character performer needs to sneeze or cough while on stage? So, 1, you try to not. As a performer, you try to make absolutely no noise while you are out on stage, but sometimes you cannot control needing to sneeze or to cough. And so usually the performer will try to go into the corner of the room, away from guests, do it as quietly as possible, and you know what, sometimes the guest hears and usually they'll say something along the lines of, "Oh, bless you, Mickey," or something like that. So it's not the end of the world, but performers do try their best to just not make any noise at all. Next, can you do the Disney College Program if you live somewhere other than California or Florida? Absolutely yes. Every single college is eligible to participate in the Disney College Program. Just during your internship time, you will move to either Anaheim, California or Orlando, Florida. Deborah Gray asked a ton of great questions. So the first one is, what do you think would be the pros or cons of doing the California program during the Florida program? Now, I would love to hear your thoughts if you've done the California program down in the comment section below, because I've only done the Florida program. For the Florida program in Orlando at Walt Disney World, there are a lot more CPs, which means there are a lot more job openings and there are a lot more roles that you can do. So when I was doing the Disney College Program, I applied only to Florida because I wanted to be a character performer, and that is not an option at Disneyland in Anaheim because that program is so much smaller. On the flip side, with it being a really small program, you're going to get to know your leaders really well, you're going to get to know your coworkers really well, and there might be more opportunity for networking events that actually pan out because they're not meeting thousands of CPs, they're only meeting a few. The California program's housing is more expensive. California does not have hurricanes, which is another pro, but your hours are a lot less than if you were to work at Walt Disney World. So there's pros and cons to both. It really just depends on what you want out of the experience. Joshua Cooper asks, is it better to go for the Disney College Program or to just apply for a regular role at the parks? And this is really going to depend on what your goal is. I like the Disney College Program because it is a set internship, they provide you housing, and they provide you transportation. They know that after a couple months you are either going to leave housing no matter what, so you're either going to go back home or you're going to apply to part-time, full-time. Now if you already live in the Orlando area, then you can just go ahead and go for part-time or full-time. But as someone who knew that I only wanted to go there for a set amount of time, I didn't want to continue on or stay there, then doing the Disney College Program was right for me. Now some people do the Disney College Program and decide that is going to be their ticket into staying, so they try to extend and then continue on to a part-time, full-time role. I've known a lot of people to do that. Sometimes it doesn't always work out that way where you get to extend and then continue on part-time, full-time. So it really just depends on what your goal is, and if you see an opening for part-time, you already live in Orlando, then go for it. Next question, while you were performing, did you ever find it hard to not talk while interacting with guests? No, I didn't. Oddly enough, once I was out on stage as a performer, I just knew that talking was not an option. And so we never talked. Even if there were no guests in the room, you still don't talk, and that's just the rule. When you're on stage, you don't talk. In fact, I had the opposite problem where when I would go home after a long day or a long week of performing, my roommates would say something, it'd be funny, and instead of laughing out loud, I would do this. Yeah, so I had to train myself once I went back home to actually make noise. Melissa asked a wonderful question. How often did you see science or math majors on the Disney College Program? This also goes along with another question that asked me, how did doing the DCP set you up for your future careers and different things that you did? So to answer Melissa's question, there are all majors on the Disney College program. One of my best friends, Trista, that I talk about all the time, she is actually an engineering major. You guys, if you've seen my vlogs, you've met Ryder. He was an econ and journalism double major. I did have a few roommates who were hospitality majors, but I don't know, I was a psych major. There's literally all types of majors on the Disney College program. So the Disney College program is not a specific, oh, I want to go into psychology, and so I'm going to do this to set me up for psychology programs. Or, oh, I'm going to do this to set me up for my dream job as a mathematician, whatever. No, the Disney College program is a time where you get to grow as a person. You get to take time off of school, be in a new environment, gain skills such as maybe living with roommates, time management, because you have to figure out like the bus schedule or driving, budgeting. There are a lot of people who going on the Disney College program is the first time they've lived away from home or the first time they've lived in an apartment. You also learn how to interact with guests, how to have a boss, and yes, some of you might have experience working on your college campus or elsewhere, but the Disney College program is just kind of this time to grow as a person, not necessarily within your major, if that makes sense. That being said, how did it set me up for the future? After doing my Disney College program, I became a lot more confident with speaking in general. So during high school, I had a really hard time looking people in the eyes. If I had an interview or something, I didn't really know how to react. I didn't know how to do small talk with people that I had never met before. And doing the Disney College program, constantly meeting new people, it helped me gain those skills, which have been helpful as I've had to be more proactive in applying for graduate programs and advocating for myself and doing like interviews and all of that. So that is personally how it helped me. Also, doing the Disney College program does show people that you do have work ethic, that you're a hard worker, but that also like you're fun and lighthearted and happy. Samantha asked a really great question. She was wondering what my thoughts are on the future of Disney College programs. So because of this pandemic, how everything is going, she's wondering, do you think that this program will still be available by the time she reaches college? Obviously, I'm not a Disney worker or someone in charge there. Of course, things can always change. My prediction is that possibly for this next year they won't have Disney College program, but I do think that the DCP will be coming back. Why is this? For starters, Disney World, oh my god, once it's past like 5 p.m., the entire park is run by CPs. Like in the morning, you've got a lot of the people who are full-timers who choose to work in the morning, be out of there by 3. Some people are night people too, so they choose later shifts. But there are so often where on my first program and my second program, I would look around and be amazed that, wow, a bunch of college students are literally running this entire operation right now. Why do they like CPs? Because CPs do get paid a little bit less than full-time or part-time counterparts. The other thing is Disney just built a brand new housing complex called Flamingo Crossing, specifically for Disney College program participants. It's very modern. They have full beds for each bedroom. Why full versus twin? I have no idea. I would rather them step up the mattress quality than step up the size of it, but okay. Supposedly it's closer to some of the parks, so I have no idea if they're going to take that and get rid of some of the other housing, or if they're using this to increase the amount of college program participants that they can take. So for those 2 reasons, I don't think that the CP will be gone forever. I think it will be gone for fall, possibly for spring, but who knows, maybe we'll start seeing Fall Advantage kids in May. Favorite thing to do outside of the Disney bubble while on the college program? I was not outside the Disney bubble that often. I really liked going to Swirls, which is, I think it's on International Drive, like almost all the way to SeaWorld, like when you're passing CP housing. It was a little ice cream place that we would go to sometimes. I also really like going to Celebration, which, yes, that's technically a community built by Disney, and it houses like Disney Cruise Line offices and a lot of the other offices in that area. But they also have this fun little street with lights across it. It's got little restaurants, and it's got a cookie dough shop, a macaroon shop, places like that. So we only went there once, but it was really fun to just take an evening and like be kind of a real person for a minute, or at least like a Floridian on vacation for a minute. How often do you think someone would be able to get to go to Universal during their Disney college program? So during my fall CP, my roommates did purchase Universal annual passes. So first of all, during that first week while you're there, you can go to Universal. You need your housing ID to prove that you live in Florida and are a Florida resident to get that discount. So you potentially have a few times during that first week while you're there to go. Oh, other thing we did outside the Disney bubble was we did go to Cocoa Beach, which was also fun. I highly recommend going there. My roommates, they went to Hollywood Horror Nights a lot, so their annual pass basically paid for that. And then they went a handful of more times. Because of how busy you are in the college program, I don't think you would be able to go weekly. Honestly, it depends on your schedule. Because if you only work a couple days a week or like 30 hours a week, then maybe you do have more time to go. During horror nights, my roommates were going constantly at least once a week. But I personally only went once during my college program, but I'm also not really a Universal person, so that's why. So, in conclusion, if you're only doing like the summer program, it might not be worth purchasing an annual pass. But if you're doing an entire fall or spring program, then I think there is enough times for it to be worth paying for that annual pass instead of individual tickets each time. Next question, what are the transportation options for the DCP and how late do the buses run? So yes, you can do the bus or driving, at least at the Florida DCP. You do have to pay for a parking pass at the apartment complex, but I don't remember it being outrageously expensive. I want to say it was like $25 for the entire time, but obviously those prices change constantly. So some people drive. If you end up working at a smaller resort, it's probably better to drive just because the bus schedule is not going to be as often as a large park like Epcot or Magic Kingdom. I personally bused on both of my programs, and as far as how late do the buses run, they run, so for Magic Kingdom it runs 24 hours a day because, oh my god, I've said this before, but there was one time where my roommate had an overnight stock shift. Literally, the second that she got into bed, it was 4 a.m., my alarm went off, and I sat up in bed to go start my shift at Magic Kingdom, which started at 6 a.m. So there are literally people at Magic Kingdom at all times of day, so that bus is going to be running 24 hours, and then the buses for the other parks run late enough so that if you do get off at midnight, you will be able to get home. Next question, would you ever forget that you were a guest and try to walk into a backstage area? No. Yeah, something about just like being in there as a guest, you don't even feel like you're on the clock or working. The most that we would ever do is maybe accidentally say, "Excuse me, princess," if we were going around a small child. And then because you are a cast member, you do just have those natural tendencies to be like, "Oh, would you guys like a picture taken?" if you see someone like struggling with a selfie. So we would do that, but I've never accidentally gone backstage or forgotten that I wasn't allowed to go backstage or tried to help start ringing a guest up at the cash register. Your brain just knows that you're off the clock. Have you ever been part of Ride Out Crew for Hurricane? No, I have not. So I was only there for one hurricane season. So what is Ride Out Crew for Hurricanes? So Ride Out Crew, you sign up and basically say that should a hurricane come and Disney World has to be closed, then I will sign up to go basically work in the resorts and help entertain guests. I have no idea if Ride Out Crew is for every single role or if it's only for a set number of roles, but I do know that in entertainment there is Ride Out Crews. So basically, if a hurricane came and Disney World was down, then they might bring performers and have characters like out and about, playing with kids, all of that. So keep the guests entertained and still make them feel like they're at Disney, even though they can't go into the parks. And then you are getting paid though like 24 hours a day. So that's the benefit of it, but you also are not then at your apartment with your dog or your stuff. You don't get to evacuate. So yeah, that's what Ride Out Crew is. I've never done it before. I was only there for one hurricane season, and it might have even been too late by the time I was there to even sign up for it. In terms of packing, what is something that you regret taking with you on your college program? So another person asked kind of if you're flying, what items should you pack and what items should you purchase there instead. So I flew both my programs. So I did already have twin sheets that I took with me, and pillowcases. I would purchase a pillow there. I would take like 2 or 3 towels with me and then buy another 2 or 3 towels while I was there. Both times I did not take a hair dryer because my other roommates all had hair dryers, and so I just asked ahead of time, hey, if you're bringing this, could I use it? Because they all drove. And they're like, yeah, of course. Probably the main thing that I regret taking, at least what I remember from my first program, is I had packed several dresses and like wedge shoes and nice sandals. And yes, you need like a dress for the graduation, fall formal, or you might want a dress if you are doing like a character dining or something. So I don't regret taking those, but I do regret taking so many nice pairs of shoes. Sandals would have been fine. I didn't need wedges. Also though, I'm not the type of person that dresses up a lot. And so I don't find high-heeled shoes or wedge shoes very comfortable to walk around in. So when I was going to those events that I just said, graduation, formal, and character dining, I wore sandals because I knew I was going to be walking around and doing stuff anyway. So I did not need to take any nicer shoes. I do recommend taking a beach towel. You can purchase one there, or if you have enough room in your suitcase, bring it with you, because if you go to the pool a lot, you probably don't want to use your regular towels for that. Emma wants to know, how long is the process of applying for the Disney College program, and then how many people are typically at auditions? So the Disney College program, let me think. For fall program, applications drop in January. I personally had my phone interview, well, I had the first 2, the original application, the web-based interview in January, like in the same 5 hours. I had my phone interview 2 weeks later in February. I had my audition at the beginning of March, and I believe I found out that I got into merchandise at the end of February. I think it was like the end of February, a week later I had my audition for a character performer, and then 2 weeks after that, by the end of March, I knew that I had gotten a role change for a character performer, and then my start date was August 22nd. And I chose that start date. I could have chosen August 8th, August like 15th or 12th, August 22nd, or September 6th or 8th. And so that is the one that I chose. For my summer alumni, again, it was end of January, applications dropped. I did the original application, then the next morning I did the web-based interview. A couple weeks later, I did the phone interview. And then they actually do they figure out fall and fall advantage first before they get back to summer alumni. So it did take longer than the first time, and it was sometime, whenever that video was up, sometime in March, because I filmed that like the same day I think that I found out. So sometime in March is when I found out that I got accepted to the summer alumni program. So it is a few month process. In terms of auditions, it really just depends on where you're auditioning. So I had an audition up in Seattle, and there were like 60 people total, but I know the New York audition had like 350 people. So it really just depends. There's no set number on what it typically is. Okay, we've got a couple more questions. So first, does Disney do anything special for cast member birthdays? Not that I'm aware of. Was it difficult to cook for yourself on the DCP, or did you do takeout a lot? I would have been broke if I did takeout or bought fast food every single day. So no, I cooked for myself. During my first program, I did a lot of rice. So I would make a thing of rice and just put it in different containers for the week. And then I would cook up chicken. And then I had frozen vegetables. So that was something where it was like, when I had time, I would make all that, and then I would have my meals for the week basically. On my second program, I did a lot of like veggie burgers and rice, and I don't think I've ever used the oven in a CP apartment. And then I would have a lot of like yogurt, chips and hummus, salad. So I tried not to cook that much, but I personally did not eat out like at all during my programs. But it's different for everybody. Alrighty, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for asking so many wonderful questions. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please give this video a big thumbs up. If you're here till this point, comment down below Disney vibes. Make sure to check out my book on Amazon. You guys have a wonderful day. Keep your nut loud. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.